So remember back in Colorado when I was fixing what I thought was the brake caliper? This holds your caliper. This is the caliper. Yeah. So the bearings in my rear axle have worn out, and the fluid, your fluid in there, has leaked out. So I thought I was seeing brake fluid. It's not, which makes sense why my brake fluid reservoir wasn't getting lower. And now the axle moves, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. Additionally, it's Sunday, so I don't know that there's any place open that could fix it. It also wouldn't be a 2-hour fix. They have to take the axle apart and put it back together, nice and dirty. So I'm staying in Vegas, good news. But, you know, it's going to be expensive, maybe. Not too expensive, but it'll be expensive, and I'll figure out how to get back to Utah. But I mean, look at how nice it is outside. Can't really be mad with palm trees. The axle, I've got tools here, and always have a toolkit, that helps. And this thing spins, which it's supposed to. It's in park right now, so it's not going to go very far. But what it's not supposed to do is that. You don't want it to move. It's supposed to stay there. So behind it, you probably can't see, there's a gear, there's some crap in there. Tire back on, put the brake back on, all that crap, rotor, and then get in touch with, I'm gonna go inside and I'll wash up and then find a shop, and then I can drive it to the shop. I'm just gonna drive very, very slowly because it's gonna get really freaking hot. I also could tow, I have AAA. So I'm gonna find something and figure it out. I'm gonna call back at work and let them know that I'm not gonna be at work tomorrow, so there's that. Update for the car. I have found a shop that can do it. I have found all the parts. Originally, my research said that it was going to cost between $700 and $1,300, and I looked up the part. I looked up like what all of it could possibly be for the whole axle, seals, bearings, lug nuts, bolts, all that stuff. I found it for $110. Now, the one I found for $110, I couldn't get for a couple days. So, Advanced Thought has it, and what they do is they can ship it to their own store overnight. Like in the morning, there's a truck that goes. They just make sure the list, parts on the list. So they're going to have the axle, all the seals, everything, that whole package, which was $150. They're going to have the rear differential gear oil, which I need, and they're going to have a seal for my pumpkin, my differential in the middle. So they're going to have all of that tomorrow morning. He said the truck's usually around 9, so that's good. And the auto shop that I talked to, they said they can take me. Now, how I found the auto shop, because I wanted a shop that could specifically do differential, rear axle stuff. And I called AAA, which I'm a member of, so it's pretty awesome. And I just told them what I had, where I was, what I'm looking for, and she said, oh, we have a list of what they do, and I guess shops will submit what they will work on. And so they had axles on this one shop, so I selected it and called them and talked to the guy, and he's like, yeah, bring it over tomorrow. Shouldn't take us more than 4 or 5 hours, so I'll have it there hopefully by 1, get it done by 5, and then drive home, be home around 11, and be ready to rock and roll. So things are good. Things are good. While the shop was working on my car, I met up with Corinna and Shanae, and we decided to explore a national park close to Las Vegas. Here's some photos of that trip. And just when we finished exploring the park, I got a call from the auto shop to go and pick up my car. So basically, axle's trashed. I'll show you that. And then I need to get new rear. We'll go from here. Okay guys, so this is the axle, and it's supposed to be straight like that all the way through, and that's how much mine wore. And that thing sitting on the bottom there was one of the seals or something. Bearing, thank you. So yeah. Okay, so I was able to make it home safely. The new axle held up fine. The mechanic explained that I didn't need a whole new rear, but that the axle could have damaged the casing that metal rod had slipped in. So he's happy that it came in when it did. I misunderstood him on the phone. However, I decided that it was probably best I started to investigate a new car for 2 reasons. Number one, basically I've paid off that car, Big Blue, as I call him. And for number 2, I kind of lean toward the van life, car life, travel thing. So it's a great way to save money, see the country, explore, and I have everything that I need, live minimally, which is something that I really enjoy. So as you can see right now, my beard's much longer, so this is being filmed at a later time. But I decided that I was going to go look for a car, and more specifically an SUV, and so I found a Suburban. The only catch was that it was in Phoenix. Now, that wasn't that big of a problem because turns out one of my roommates, Harley, her family is from Phoenix, so she was traveling down there, and so we decided to carpool together to go buy a Suburban. So here's a little bit about that trip.
I have bought a Suburban to convert into a camper van. So drove from Escalante to Phoenix with my friend Harley, and we got there, we got the car, bought it, drove it around for 3 days in Phoenix, all great, and on our way back, 7 hours to Escalante after 2 hours-ish, my temperature went up and it said I was overheating, so we pulled off and I looked, and number one, in Arizona it's common for people to put water in the radiator system because it's just so damn hot you don't need radiator fluid because it's never going to freeze. However, water's not as efficient at cooling an engine as radiator fluid. The mixture is okay, but like a 70-30 is best, radiator to water. At least that's what the bottle says. So if you know differently, let me know. But nonetheless, got radiator fluid, was pouring it in, and luckily we were caravanning, so she had another car. And when I got back and turned it on, I saw that there was a line that was leaking. It's a hard line. Long story short, the part's available in Phoenix, so they're going to ship it overnight. It'll be here in the morning around 8, and I can replace it. It's really just a couple of bolts and a hose that I just need to unconnect and then reconnect. So theoretically, it will be an easy fix. We'll see how it goes tomorrow morning, but I'm currently just a little bit south of Flagstaff, chilling in my bourbon. And so videos and all that stuff to come, photos to come, but just chilling. I've gone with the foam thing again for windows. I had gone with this 1/2 inch stuff, which I'm trying to get you. This stuff, which is only 1/2 inch, and it goes in, but unless you have a way of securing it to the window, it doesn't really do that well. And so it doesn't stick in the window as well, number one, and then obviously it doesn't have as great of insulative value. So I'm going to go with the full inch stuff from now on. I'll probably order some off an online retailer somewhere. But so that's number one, is I need to get more of that. I still have a big piece that I'll probably use for my rear window or my front window or something like that. And then I need to wrap it all in black. Number two, I got house window tint, where it knocks out 80% of the sun's rays. So we'll see how that does. The windows are tinted in the back, but they're just not very dark. So we'll see how this does. I don't know if you can put tint over top of tint, but I'm going to try. And so with that tint and then the black on top of the foam and the foam in the windows, insulative-wise and privacy-wise, it'll be pretty good. So I'll keep you posted. Tomorrow morning, you'll get a video, tomorrow morning I'll make the video of me changing the part out of the Suburban, and you'll see what it is. And for now, I'm just 12 miles out of town, 17 at max or something like that, to the place I need to be. And I got this like putty that basically you mush up and it activates the catalyst, and then you can mold it onto whatever, and it works for everything from plastic to steel to aluminum to copper, whatever. So I've just put that around the pipe that was leaking. It's just a small 1/4 inch diameter pipe, so hopefully that will hold long enough to get me 20 minutes down the road back into town, into Flagstaff. And then once in Flagstaff, I'll park at the auto parts store and then just chill, maybe walk around, see some stuff. Still looking for rock climbing shoes, so I'll try and see what I can find, but I'll find some free Wi-Fi and go from there. All right. Okay, so the update is that parts coming in through a auto parts supplier tomorrow morning. I went and found some Wi-Fi, and I'm now going for a walk through Flagstaff to find climbing shoes so I can do some bouldering when I'm back in Escalante. So I'm just going for a walk. I went over to a place that I'd eaten earlier today, although you don't have to necessarily have eaten there first, and got some ice water. It's only 90, but it's, you know, still hot. And so, I'll show you how I fixed my car, but it didn't leak. Getting it from where I was overheating at to where it is now, which is out back at the auto parts store in a nice little spot next to a wall and kind of under a tree. So I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, so now I'm just going for a nice walk. It's beautiful out. Oh, and for those of you that saw the episode when I was in Salt Lake or in St. Louis and got lost, don't worry, because I'm next to a store that I can Google. And I looked at where I'm going and where I am, so I won't get lost this time. It should be good.
Good morning. So, slept in my car, well, the Suburban, in Walmart. It was rough. There was diesel engines running. People are stupid. There's a ton of cars here that people are sleeping in. And, pretty crappy night's sleep, but it's going to be a good day. So let's just slip on some foam. It was hot, now it's chilly. I used some felt as a blanket that I had bought to cover the foam for my windows. So let's fix this car and get back home. Okay, so I've got some of the air intake stuff off of my car so that you can see what it was. And this is the little line that was leaking. So coming in, this is where I removed the air intake. And it's that silver line underneath there. That one. It goes underneath and around, and where I have that stuff globbed on it is where it was leaking. So I'm going to take that. It's just a bolt there. The line runs underneath, and there's a bolt there. There it is. The old one on top, the new one down below. The old one has a crack underneath that goop stuff there, but looks pretty good. The only bummer is the new one didn't come with little gaskets, so I'll try and reuse the old ones. Okay, here's the update. Got the part, and it was super easy to put in, but while putting it in, one of the nipples that goes into the block must not have sat correctly, and I didn't check it. I checked it only on one side, and I didn't really think about it. I just thought it would naturally slip in, and it crunched and bunched. So luckily, the pack that I bought for $90, which is ridiculous, had two basically just plugs that you could do instead of replacing the cord, which I guess is a common thing. So I did that and then plugged the cord that came off of it. It just was like an air thing, so I don't know. But there was no fluid in it after having it run, so I wasn't worried. And it's been fine. So I'm now in Kanab, and there's a little festival going on. I'm going to stop and check it out and go from there. I was really frustrated with what happened because it was expensive and should have went fine, and I don't know that the line's important, but hey, it's working now, and we're rocking and rolling, and everything's been going smooth, knock on wood somewhere. But yeah, so let's go check out this little festival. The festival at Kanab was nice, but I didn't take any video. I just kind of enjoyed the town and walked around and talked to local vendors. I made it back to Escalante without problem and decided that it was time for focusing on the build of the Suburban. So here's a little sneak peek into next week's video. Because I like to use recycled materials, I checked out the local dump and found this pallet that fit perfectly into the back of my vehicle. And it was exactly the length that I am tall. I just had to decide whether or not I needed to lift the bed up so that I could put storage underneath it or leave it at the height it was at. But that's a story for next time. Thanks, and see you then.